When you're looking for fall colors, chances are you go for a drive in the country or a walk in the woods. But there's a Chicago man who'd like you to consider an alternative. His name is Ralph Frese, and at 83, he's something of a canoe guru to Midwest paddlers. A few years ago, our Jay Shefsky tagged along with Ralph and his wife, Rita, as they paddled in one of his favorite fall spots, the Skokie Lagoons in Glencoe. Here's another look.
The canoe is really a magic escape. We're in the middle of 6 million people, and we've got a little bit of this all to ourselves.
If not for that traffic noise coming from the Edens Expressway, we could be in the middle of Wisconsin or Minnesota. But before the 1930s, there were no lagoons here. This was just a marshy part of the North Branch of the Chicago River. Then came the Civilian Conservation Corps.
They had 1,000 men working here for $30 a month in room and board, digging all of this by hand.
Ralph Frese is out canoeing every chance he gets. But it's not just a hobby, it's his livelihood. Ralph owns a store called the Chicagoland Canoe Base at Irving Park and Narragansett on the northwest side. It's a tiny shop, but he's managed to squeeze into it everything you might need to buy or rent for your next canoe or kayak adventure. If you stop by and can't find him in the store, he's probably out back.
This is where I play.
For more than 50 years, Ralph's play has included restoring old canoes and building new ones. But the heart of his workshop is back here. Ralph is a fourth-generation blacksmith. Before the canoe business, there was this forge started by his father.
What do you want me to make, a chisel?
Sure. His family's specialty has long been chisels and other iron tools.
See, blacksmithing is called blacksmithing because we work with the black metals, iron and steel. Most people associate it with horseshoeing, but that's a failure.
Now, the path from blacksmithing to paddling may not be immediately obvious, but we're getting to that.
I first started coming out here around 1940. There was a man in the neighborhood that took us kids fishing. One day he brought us to this new place I had not heard of, called Skokie Lagoons. 7 miles of waterways. At that time, I had acquired a little 14-foot canvas kayak. Being admiral of my own Navy, I had to figure out how to get it out here.
Ralph didn't have a car, and neither did his parents. What he did have was a bicycle and his father's blacksmith shop. So, naturally, he built a kayak trailer for his bike.
It used to take me 55 minutes to pedal the 15 miles from Dad's blacksmith shop out to Skokie Lagoons with all my fishing gear and riding another kid on the bar so I'd have company all day. I had a good pair of legs in those days. I learned as a young man you don't want to get sunburned on a weekend canoeing and then come back Monday morning and stand in front of open flame with your face, your chest, your arms bright red.
As a young man in the early 1950s, Ralph joined his father in the blacksmithing business. The next step on his canoe journey came around that same time when he agreed to help out a local scout troop.
And I wanted to take the kids out to the Des Plaines and the North Branch and show them how to explore what we had in the Chicago area.
The troop didn't have money to buy enough canoes, but Ralph was a blacksmith.
Well, with a blacksmith shop, you can make anything. So I started building canoes. Fiberglass just came on the market. We built 6 for our troop. Then other troops heard about it. Before I knew it, I had 400 or 500 of those little canoes built in the area. Our sport of paddling in canoes and kayaks gives us the only trail through nature that leaves no trace of your passing. Other roads do some violence to nature. There's no way you can create a bike path or a hiking trail without damaging nature.
The Skokie Lagoons go as far south as this dam at Willow Road. But if you carry your canoe around the dam, paddlers call it portaging, you're on your way to the north branch of the Chicago River.
From here you can go to downtown, or if you have enough time, you can paddle further, go all the way to Peoria and St. Louis, Memphis, Billings, Montana, Minneapolis, St. Paul. It's all connected.
Ralph Frese never misses a chance to remind anyone who will listen that it is the interconnectedness of all that water that is the reason Chicago exists. And guess what?
It was discovered by the son of a blacksmith in Quebec who had a son by the name of Louis Joliet. The man who discovered the richness of the Illinois country, the Illinois River Valley, the portage over our continental divide, and reported back, this is the best place to settle. He did it by canoe.
And by the way, if you look across the street from Ralph's store in that Jewel parking lot, there's a rise in the landscape. That's the continental divide that Joliet reported.
In 1973, it was the 300th anniversary of his discovery, and I had a crazy idea that year. So I reenacted the whole 3,000-mile journey of Louis Joliet, Father Marquette, and their 5 men in costume.
Ralph recruited the 7 men, he enlisted a film crew to document the often perilous journey, and he built the canoes.
Not many people realize the significance of the canoe in North American history. The canoe is responsible for more geographical knowledge of North America than the horse, the covered wagon, any other method of conveyance.
Ralph's passion for paddling takes up a lot of space. There are the old canoes that he's built. There's the molds he used to make them. And then there are the storage lockers that hold his collection of 120 canoes and kayaks.
This year I picked up this outrigger canoe from Tahiti. Here is an old birch bark canoe. This is from Borneo. You know, all over the world, some form of a canoe is the beginning of all of man's maritime heritage.
For Ralph Frese, paddling is a lot of things. It's a business, it's a passion for history and nature. It's also romantic.
I'd throw the canoe on the van, I'd stop at Brown's Chicken, pick up dinner, and we come out here and have a picnic supper. And then 9 o'clock when the moon comes up, we'd launch and we'd paddle around the upper island north of Tower Road. And let me tell you, it's magic by moonlight. Where the moon is shining, it's liquid silver. And in the shadows, it's jet black.
For Chicago Tonight, this is Jay Shefsky.
Since we first ran this story in 2006, Ralph Frese has been honored by having a stretch of the North Branch of the Chicago River named for him. Also, even though he's only 83, he's decided that it is time to retire. He wants to sell his business. So, if you're in the market for a paddling store with a blacksmith forge in the back, go to WTTW.com/Chicago Tonight and we'll tell you how to find him.